menace to sobriety. Just a menace, just a menace.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety with your host with the most, Dan O'Reilly, and a big one. I'm doing this fairly early just to give you guys loads of time to prep, but I'm already feeling anxious about it, I'm not going to lie. I'm calling this podcast episode How to Do the Festive Season Sober, How to Do Christmas Sober, and for me it's the hardest part. I'm over 2 years sober now, and I still feel and think all the same feelings and all the same thoughts about the festive season. Not as much as I did at the beginning, but I certainly feel it. And I wanted to do an episode on just, what I'm going to do to navigate the Christmas season, what you can do, some tips, some things that can help, and a little delve into why we feel the way we do about the Christmas season. I don't care who you are. If you are struggling or had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and drugs, or either or, the Christmas season is such a tricky and anxiety inducing time of year, man. It really is. I haven't particularly enjoyed Christmas as much as I'd like to over the last couple, like last year it was a little bit of not a struggle, but I felt it. The year before I felt it, and the year before that I actually cracked, and I'd done 4 months sober and I cracked for Christmas. So I have this feeling about Christmas that kind of, it defeated me once. Do you know what I mean? So I think of it in a bad way. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to look back on Christmas and how it's been ruined before with alcohol and drugs, and kind of set the scene. And then I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to navigate this Christmas and what the sort of things I do to keep my head straight. But listen, first up, it's weird, isn't it? Because I think Christmas is actually a brilliant time for people that are addicts, people that suffer with being unable to regulate their drinking and their drug use. Because for the month leading up to Christmas, and especially over Christmas, but I think more so the month leading up to Christmas, you can hide in plain sight, right? I can remember many years I'd have my own work stews for Christmas. I'd have friends going out and meeting for Christmas. I'd have other friends that are on work stews, and they'd be like, I've got a work stew Friday night. Anyone want to meet up afterwards? And we'd get on it. And my phone was always going on the weekends leading up to it. I'm out doing this. Anyone else in town? A lot of my pals lived up in the city, and a lot of my pals worked in the city. So it was always, I've got my work stew, or there's Christmas drinks. And actually, I think, so it's difficult. It's not difficult. It's a great time for those of us that like to drink. It's a great time for anyone that likes to get smashed on the regular, because there's loads of opportunities with lots of different people going out, but also you can just hide within the mayhem, and you feel normal for a bit because everyone's out doing what you're doing. The only difference is that majority of people, I was going to say normal, but that's a bit out of order, but majority of everyday people, they will do their work stew and get drunk, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? They might have a couple of drinks, a couple of mulled wines after work or something like that, but it's not a season of getting hammered and annihilated. What I found is that I used to experience a lot of drama over Christmas. And now when I look back, I realise why it is. And when I used to drink, and I used to suffer really, really bad come-downs when I was on the old bugle. And I used to also suffer really, really bad hangovers. And it always put me in such a bad place. Like, I was aggy and aggressive and rude, and I had a bit of a short fuse. I was a bit short-tempered or whatever. I didn't go around beating people up, but I mean, I was prone to arguments more. And when you mix that in with seeing your family, some of your family that you haven't seen for ages, or friends, spending more time with friends that you haven't seen for ages, it's more than likely that any sort of awkwardness or things that have happened throughout the year, it becomes the time where it gets aired, where people talk about it, and it can cause friction. A big part of the problem, I think, that us lads especially encounter at Christmas is that it's meant to be a time for the family, isn't it? It's meant to be a time for the kids, right? But as I know now, and you guys are probably know as well, and some of you are just working out, if you can't regulate your drink and drug use, if you can't stop once you start, it does not work with having young kids. It just doesn't, because you've got less patience for them, and the very days that are dedicated to your kids, which is the weekends and especially Christmas, all this beautiful time for the kids, is tarnished, and you can't enjoy it. You're not present when you're hungover and reeling from a heavy session, or you're just trying to look for the next session and get out. You're not there for your kids, are you? Let's just be honest. You're not present. You're not enjoying it. Because I can, hand on my heart, say that there's many days before I got sober that should have been great days with my kids that I struggled to get through, that were really hard. So yeah, that's something to it's such negative stuff, but actually it's stuff that I think is important for us to talk about if we're talking about the festive season. Is, instead of, because we're going to look at all the positives now, all the things, I wanted to go on to identifying your triggers at Christmas, because I think it's vital to survive the festive season. Not just survive the festive season, but it is vital to enjoy the festive season. What's vital to enjoy in the festive season is being able to pinpoint the things that are making you feel like you want to drink. All right, and if you can pinpoint your triggers and you can identify them as triggers, then they don't feel like compulsions. They don't feel like you're compelled to do it. This is a massive part of my recovery. This is a huge tool that I got in my toolbox, if not one of the most important tools, is identifying a trigger, identifying something that has made me feel like I want to do something, identifying that feeling, rationalizing it in my brain and going, the reason why I feel like that is because of this. And that takes away the compulsive element of just doing it. Because before I could identify what the trigger was, it just felt like a compulsion that I couldn't control. And I was compelled to do it. And because my mind said to do it, I would do it. So this is huge work. This is important. This is a huge important part of what we do when we're breaking down all these different things in our life. And if you want to identify the triggers within the festive season, before we get on to the good things, I really think it's important that we nail the negative things. And that is, if you want to be present for your family, if you want to be present for your kids, and you can't regulate your drinking, it's impossible to do the two. So for me, it isn't a happy Christmas for everyone if I drink. It's only a happy Christmas to a certain extent for me while I'm drinking and while I'm using. Because look, hand on heart, I can go out and have a couple of drinks without getting on the old ding dang do, but at some point I will get on the old ding dang do. There's no two ways about it. I know me. I've tried to not do it before, and I know 110% that I cannot make rational decisions when I'm drunk. Right now, as me sober, I know I'm a 40-year-old man that's got 3 kids, and sniffing me brains out ain't a respectable or decent or good thing to do. As fun as it is sometimes to escape the world, I know as a 40-year-old geezer with kids, with families, with businesses, with families, only one family, with businesses and with responsibilities, it isn't the right thing to do. I know that because I'm sober. You give me 3 Stellas, you give me 3 or 4 Stellas. Oh my God, even just saying the word Stellas triggered me. But you give me 3, I can almost taste it on my lips. It's so fucking dangerous. I fucking hate this disease. You give me 3 or 4 Stellas, you give me 4 Stellas and ask me if it's a good idea, and I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with it. It's a good idea. I'll be all right tomorrow. I'll shake it off. It's just an occasional sesh. You know, my point being that sober me can make the correct decisions. Drunk me can't. I can't trust drunk me. That's why I don't drink, because I don't want to get on the old ding dang do. Both had to go. And even if I didn't have the ding dang do and I started drinking, I'll be drinking until I was sinking. I'll be absolutely hammered before I went home. And then I'll wake up the next day like that. Christmas, mate. Stick Christmas up your... I'm hungover. So I'm hanging, hungover. And I always say it, think of the words that we use. Smashed, wasted, hungover, blasted, blast your brains out. I'm going to get annihilated. You know what I mean? Like, think of these words that we use. Right. That's the negative side of drinking at Christmas. If you're anything like me, as you can tell, I'm a bit anxious actually talking about it. And even thinking about this podcast, I got a little bit anxious. I'm anxious about Christmas. I'm not going to lie. Not because I think I'm going to do anything, just because it brings a lot of feelings into me that I don't like. And one of the big ones is being lonely. I feel, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but at Christmas, although I'm with my missus and my kids and my family, and I'll see people that I haven't seen for a while, and I've got 3 lovely babas and lots of love in my house, I do feel lonely because I don't see any of my friends anymore, any of my old friends. I don't see any of them, the ones I grew up with, and that breaks my heart. And there is a feeling around going out, going to the pub with your mates, having a drink, and getting on it and stuff. And there was a lot of times where that didn't end in chaos. There was a lot of times that didn't end in drama. And there's a lot of times that, I had a drinking sesh at Christmas and it didn't cause massive conflict with my family or my missus or work. There's times where I look back and those times were all right, and I romanticize about them times. I miss them. I miss my friends. I miss getting drunk. I miss talking. I miss all of that stuff. But that is a shame, and that's the addiction in my mind trying to trick me into thinking that I didn't have a problem and it'd be okay to go back, because we don't think about all the drama that I caused. I mean, I almost didn't make Christmas Day a couple of times. I went all the way through a couple of times from, 2 days before Christmas to Christmas morning, and then survived Christmas Day by drinking, in front of my kids and my family and stuff like that. Imagine the state I must have been in. And then drank all the way through till New Year's, and then got smashed on New Year's and wondered why I was having a breakdown. So, yeah, it's really tricky. Let's have a look at the triggers. I mean, even thinking about it now, I'm getting a little bit triggered. But when I do look back on how many Christmases have been ruined, and when I do look back on the tough side, I do feel very proud of myself that I am sober. And once I get my head around, okay, life has changed. Life does change. We do grow older. If the biggest thing that I'm upset about is losing a few friends and not going out and having a drink with them, if that's the biggest drama in my life, my God, it's a much better loss to have than losing my family. My little baby girl's growing up without a mum and dad together. Neve and Rue, imagine Neve and Rue didn't wake up and their dad is there, like in a good mood, arms open, come downstairs, it's Christmas, and doing that whole Christmas with them. Imagine that their childhood memories are more important than what I'm doing now. Right now, we are in control of our children's memories. Is that not what's the most important? Do you see how I almost got tricked into feeling sad for a minute then? I almost got tricked into feeling sad because I'm thinking about Christmas. I'm thinking about me, about my selfish wants and needs, over 3 girls that are growing up and their future memories are in my hands right now. Is there anything more important than that? Not to mention my sanity, my mental health, my well-being, and me being happy at Christmas. Such a wild, confusing thing, isn't it, that we go through, trying to justify not poisoning ourselves. And it's hard, man. It's habitual. It's just I've gone off on a massive tangent because I feel quite emotional about it, but it is like an habitual. It's 25 years, man. 25 years of me doing the same thing every Christmas. 25 years of excitement, of of everything, and yeah, it's changed and I'm getting used to it. Let's identify your triggers. So, Christmas is coming. What things have you got to look out for? What things do you realise are your triggers? And I want you to actually use the comment section on my YouTube video, because you can help me. I really need some help as well around the Christmas time. I'm still working a lot of stuff out myself, but Tell me what things trigger you at Christmas, and then maybe they're the similar things to me, and I can look out for them. I'd really appreciate the comments in the YouTube video. I genuinely want that help. But here's the stuff that triggers me. Christmas music is just the biggest trigger. I love Christmas music. When I grew up in my house, my mum, my stepdad, they used to start playing Christmas music in like November, and they loved it. All the Christmas songs, the Christmas albums, they would just be going off in my house, and I loved it. And there was always drinking. My mum always had a drink. My stepdad had a drink. People would be coming over having a drink. When I hear Christmas songs, I imagine drinking and partying and having fun. So Christmas music fills me with joy, and I associate the joy of Christmas with drinking. It's just the way I am. I'm having so many flashbacks doing this podcast in different pubs and stuff. It's very strange. I've never really spoken about it in so much detail. Christmas music is a big one. So when I hear Christmas music now, I try and visualise my kids' faces. And in fact, all of these triggers, I'm trying to rewire my brain. I imagine, and I've said it before, that our brain, it's like a ski slope, where skiers are going down it, and if it was to rain, the water would run down those tracks where the skiers have gone. That's where the water would run. That's where your thoughts run. What you've got to do is you've got to carve in new pathways, new neurological pathways between triggers and thoughts, and what you visualize when you get triggered. And every time I hear something, I try and interject my kids' pictures of my kids' faces. So Christmas music, think of the kids. So now I want that music to be associated with my children having fun, not associated with me sniffing a bag of gear or drinking down a pub. So that's what you need to do. Identify your triggers and find a new visualization next to them. And that's where your thoughts are going to go. Your thoughts are going to run there. After lots of practice, they're going to run. Music, children, opening their presents, lovely. The lights of London are a massive trigger for me. I don't even want to go to the city. Going up to the city is a big one for me, because I used to go two couple of times a week on the sesh into London. Going round London anyway with the lights and stuff, but the Christmas lights are a big trigger. So beware. I used to always like going up to Winter Wonderland, the lights, the music. You mix the lights and the music. Ooh, it's party time in my mind. I always imagine, on Snatch, I think it's Snatch, yeah, Snatch, where they're telling that guy not to go gambling. And they're like, "You're not gambling, are you?" And he's like, "No." And then in his mind it goes, "Viva Las Vegas." That's what these triggers are like for me. I hear the Viva Las, I'm like, it just flashes through, like going to a pub, getting shots, having a drink, hitting the casino, sniffing loads of gear, walking around, smashed, chatting nonsense to people, but it's Christmas, so it's okay, I'm allowed to do it. Woo, Viva! The music mixed with the Christmas lights. Christmas lights are a big trigger. Try and associate it with something that's going to make you feel positive. Pictures of your children, or play a little video of your children opening their Christmas presents. Seeing other people drinking at Christmas and laughing. Isn't it funny that outside pubs people are always laughing? Yes. Oh yes, this is so much fun. I hate walking past pubs. I still get it. I still look over and go, "You fucking mate, shut up." Because it is fun, right? Socialising. But it's the socialising aspect that's fun. Getting wavy, you do let your guard down, and maybe you do have a little bit more fun. Maybe that's why we like to do it. But it can be very triggering, especially if Christmas music's playing and it's under the lights. Then you are triple fucked. But yeah, seeing other people drinking. The early darkness is another big trigger to look out for. It's starting to get darker a lot early. Coming out of work and it being dark, you think, "Oh, I'll just have a drink before I go home." The darkness is a bit depressing as well, and you want cheering up. So I find that early darkness can trigger me. The smells as well. There's a lot of smells associated with Christmas, like mulled wine, or I don't know, the smell of trees, Christmas trees and stuff like that. Just the coldness, smell of winter. And also a big one is the food that we eat in the winter, or maybe it's not food that we eat, but just food in general. I think, especially at the festive season, the Christmas dinner and all that. can be a tricky one. So yeah, that's all my main triggers. If you associate with any of them, again, just try and associate the actual trigger with something positive. And the best positive thing you can think of is the reason why. One of the big reasons why that you're going sober, and try and rewire those neurological pathways. Is tricky. So how do you enjoy Christmas? How do you enjoy Christmas without drinking? Now, I feel like a big part of it is the overthinking, the reminiscing, the feeling that you're missing out. And you've got to try and swap feelings. So instead of feeling like you're missing out, just try and feel like you're free of it. You're free of that grip. In fact, just say you're swapping your days for nights. That's a big one that I always do. I'm swapping the nights for the days. I'm swapping the fun at night for fun in the day. I'm swapping the nights for the days. That's all I've done. I've swapped it around. I have my fun in the day instead of having my fun at night. Also, feel good about yourself. Try and keep reminding yourself how much better you feel. You know, because you got to remember, although I've probably painted it as doom and gloom over Christmas, but I need to be real. It's important to be real on these podcasts and not paint, oh, listen, it's lovely, you can do it if you try, and actually Christmas is great, and da-da-da. It's one of the most hardest parts of my sobriety, Christmas. I'm not going to lie, and it doesn't seem to get too much easier. I just seem to understand it and work out how to navigate it. You know, I don't like to sugarcoat things. It's fucking hard, but they are only moments in time. So, you know, a big mistake that we make, people that are sober or in this, a big mistake that I made before, is that you're approaching Christmas and you go, the whole thing is going to be hard work. How am I going to survive the whole thing? As if like from the 1st of fucking December till the 31st of December, that whole chunk, every moment, every second, every day, every evening, every night is going to be hard. That's bullshit. There's going to be probably 5 hard instances. There's going to be a couple of nights where people are going out doing things you'd normally do. There's going to be a couple of times you get stressed and you can't drink. You're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see the lights. You're going to hear the music. There's going to be a handful of instances where you're really going to go, oh, this is a bit difficult, you know. That's it. That's it. It's not a whole your life isn't over. The rest of the time, you're going to be proud of yourself that you're not smashed. If you've got a family, if you're watching this now and you've got a family, and especially if you've got a young family, you are the most luckiest people in the world. You have got every bit of motivation. I've got 3 little babies, right? And I'm like, I literally put it on my hands. I've said this before. It's either them or it's drink and drugs. So to me, every time I just go, look, come on, I want to be there for them. I want to be right. I'm making their memories. I'm responsible for their memories. So I ain't going to do it. This is more important than me. Because drinking and drugs and addiction is you. That's you choosing you. You choosing your needs, your wants, your pleasures over your family. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's selfish, right? And it is the solution to your problems. Sort your problems out so you don't keep leaning into the solution. It's just as simple as that, really. I know that sounds harsh, but I'm talking to myself. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself because my own mind tries to convince me to do otherwise. Look back at the year. You know, if you've only just started this journey, December is a wicked time to look back at the year, man. So if you haven't had the best year and you've been on and off the drink and drugs, or you've struggled to get sober, or you haven't been sober and you're only just starting, look back on the year and say, look, I've got the perfect opportunity to start fresh now. It's a beautiful time of year for fucking resetting, restarting. Don't wait for fucking December the 31st, because you'll be broken going into next year. Do you want to be broken going into next year, or do you want to start fixing yourself so you start next year strong? If you want to have the best year of your life next year, sort your shit out before New Year's Eve. Don't go, just get Christmas out the way, because you're doing yourself a disservice. It's time to put yourself first. And quite simply, the best way to enjoy Christmas is just to make it about your family. The best way to enjoy Christmas is to make it about other people. Don't make it about you. Don't make Christmas about you. All right? I know there's people out there that are listening and that are watching this that may not understand what I'm saying, but the best way I can put it is stop making it about you. Stop thinking about you. Stop thinking about what you need. Stop thinking about what you want. Stop thinking about what you're missing out on. Stop thinking about how you feel, although it is very important to be in tune with how you feel, but don't make it all about how you feel. Pick someone you love, focus on them, all right? Or focus on helping other people somehow. You know what I mean? Use Christmas to focus on other people, not yourself, not what you're missing out on. Last year, to make things even worse, I ended up in Manchester for Christmas at the in-laws. Depressing, bleak place. No, I'm joking. No, it was lovely. Get well looked after. Get treated like you know, a little, I don't know, get treated like a king up there. Do you know what I mean? Constant food and drinks, and not alcoholic drinks, but you know what I mean? Constant being fed by the in-laws. It was lovely, relaxing, watching crap TV and being with the family. But I felt it. I was wobbling a little bit last year. Well, not wobbling like I was going to do something, just felt uncomfortable, didn't feel natural. I ran every day while I was up there. I was up there for about a week, and I went out and ran every day on the lead up to Christmas morning. I got up and I ran, and once I got my run out the way, I felt good. I burnt the nervous anxiety. I feel like it's confusion. I feel confused that I'm not drinking on Christmas, so I burnt that natural sort of anxiety off with the run, and I come back and I was like, all right, I'm all yours now. Time to focus on you guys. I've done a little bit for me. I've burnt off the anxiety. I'm all yours. So here we are. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? One thing I did want to do in this podcast was I wanted to just focus on how to say that you're not drinking. The Christmas period can be a really tricky one for like works dues and family dues and seeing people in situations where you're normally drinking. So I always think at the beginning, I always used to think to myself, how am I going to say I'm not drinking to people that I'm working with or I've just met without saying I'm a raging alcoholic that's used to sniff a lot of gear, because they're going to judge me and think that I'm a crackhead, right? Or whatever derogatory terms you want to use against yourself. How do you say that you're not drinking without causing some big conversation that's going to embarrass you? Here's a couple of things that I used to say. I don't drink anymore because it doesn't agree with me. I just don't drink anymore. It don't agree with me. I don't drink anymore. It don't agree with me. Oh, I don't. Yeah, Dan, do you want to drink? What you drinking, mate? You drinking? Nah, I don't drink no more. Why don't you drink? I just don't drink. It don't agree with me, mate. I'll have a Coke or coffee or something. Oh, okay. What do you mean it don't agree with you? Oh, it makes me feel shit. Makes me feel bad. Oh, what does it make you feel bad? Mate, fuck off. No, I'm joking, but like normally with that one, it kind of shuts it down. I don't drink anymore. It just don't agree with me. It just don't agree with you. What do you mean it don't agree with you? It makes me feel bad, mate. Do you know what I mean? It makes me feel like shit. All right, cool. And that's the truth, isn't it? Because you do feel like shit when you've drunk excessively. So you're not lying. I don't drink anymore. It don't agree with me. Or this one, if you're a little bit more confident, and I use this one all the time now, mate, I've got an unhealthy relationship with drink. It's just no good for me. I've got an unhealthy relationship with drink. I've got an unhealthy relationship with drink. What does that mean, mate? What do you mean I've got an unhealthy relationship with it? Once I start, sometimes I drink too much. But you don't have to explain yourself. You can repeat it. If you repeat something more than once, normally people don't ask. I don't drink anymore. It don't agree with me. What? I don't drink anymore, mate. It just don't agree with me. Oh, really? How come? It don't agree with me. Oh, right. 3 times, and they know that you're not really going to elaborate on it. And it's quite as simple as that. You can move on. Do you know what I mean? I have an unhealthy relationship with drink. Oh, really? Why? I just have an unhealthy relationship with drink. Really? So you don't drink? Nah, because I've got an unhealthy relationship with it. That's basically you saying, shut up, dickhead. No one wants to talk about it. Or, here's a good one. I don't like it no more. Do you want to drink, mate? Nah, I don't like alcohol no more. Oh, how come? Just don't like it. Why don't you like it? Just don't like it, mate. I don't like it. You repeat them fuckers 3 times. If you really want to shut someone down straight away when they ask you why you don't drink, just say I'm an addict. But you got to have some bollocks for that. You got to be able to really not give a fuck what people think. The only time that I wouldn't advise saying something like that is, the only time I wouldn't advise saying something like that. The only time I think I personally would be uncomfortable saying something like that is if it was in a work setting, because unfortunately people put the word connect the word addict with people that are unsuccessful, unmotivated, not hardworking, that you know, they think that, oh, so all you care about is drinking drugs. Do you know what I mean? They think that your focus is in the wrong place, and in a work environment, people can be prejudiced against it. People can, I don't know what the word is, but, you know, hold it against you. So there's probably better ways to go about it. But again, that's their fucking problem. If you're confident enough, and I often say it, if someone's doing my head in, or if it's in a situation that I'm not really comfortable with, I'm self-employed, so I don't really care, and I've bled my heart out on the internet, so it doesn't make no odds to me. But if I am at parties and people don't know me and they're kind of pushing it, I just say I'm an addict, mate. I'm an addict, because, you know, it's so difficult, because with alcohol, it's different, isn't it? They go, oh, what? Yeah, surely you'll be all right with one, but you wouldn't say that to someone with a heroin addiction. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know, you wouldn't say that to someone with like a heroin addiction. You know, oh, come on, mate, do you just want one more dose of heroin? Come on, you'll be all right. But with alcohol, it's different. So sometimes you need to be a little bit firmer. All right, wicked. I've had a wicked time talking about the festive stuff, but I wanted to save a good bit of this podcast to answer some questions, because I've been saying I'm going to do it since I restarted the podcast. As you can tell, I was a little bit nervous about the old Festive season 1, but I wanted to make sure I got it in nice and early, because I want to do some exciting stuff with the podcast over December. I think I'm going to do another one with the cocaine hypnotist and some other ones. But I've got some questions here, so let's get into them. From Aidan, he says, what is the best way to still be able to spend time with friends at the pub while not drinking? I think the best way to do that, personally myself, is I'm just honest with myself, and I say that I'm not going to be there all night, and honest with other people. I just say I'll come for a little bit, because I don't personally really enjoy it when people are drunk. It makes me feel a bit uneasy and a bit out of place, like a third wheel. But I think that if you're not comfortable going to a pub, Aidan, if you're not comfortable going to a pub, if it makes you feel uneasy, don't go, because you don't have to. You can I took fucking 6 months, or 3 or 4 months at least, out of my whole social life. That's probably why I lost all my friends, but I don't give a fuck. But I honestly 110% put my sobriety before anything else. So if you're not comfortable going into a pub, don't worry about it. But the best way to still be able to spend time with friends, for me personally, is I have an alcohol-free beer, 1 or 2. It normally makes me feel a little bit bloaty anyway, so I go off it straight away. But I get in and I sit down and I enjoy it, and I just don't put too much pressure on myself to stay long. I'm honest about wanting to leave, and I tell my friends, yeah, I'm off ski now, I'll see you later. You know, just be honest with yourself. Let's talk about alcohol-free options being out of stock in pubs a lot, and how they are now. Sober swatters. Alcohol-free options, I think, there isn't a lot of alcohol-free options in pubs. You can have your soft drinks as well, and I like a coffee, because it gives me a little bit of buzz to keep me going. But yeah, they need to work a little bit harder on the alcohol-free options. But every now and then you come across a pub that does the alcohol-free on tap, and I really, really respect that. I've got two hospitality venues, and we do stock alcohol-free, but I don't put a lot of work into it. But I might try and throw some alcohol-free nights or something like that. But I also don't want to promote the drinking aspect of socializing, and it feels like you are sometimes with the alcohol-free stuff. So I'm a bit confused as to how I completely feel about alcohol-free stuff and doing events around it. So I'll work that out myself. But one thing I do know is that the alcohol-free beers do make me feel like I'm part of it. You know, it takes the edge off me being completely different to everyone else, and it's like it feels natural having a beer in a pub. And I love the Heineken Zero. My favourite alcohol-free beer is Heineken Zero, because Heineken tastes like piss anyway. It doesn't even taste like beer. So the Heineken Zero is the closest thing to the real thing, because the real thing is shit. You know what I'm saying? How do you fight off seasonal depression without booze? That's from James. Exercise is the only way I can recommend, because once I've had a run, and I love a run, once I've had a run, I feel good. I cannot deny it. So however you exercise, that's how you get rid of the seasonal depression. From Finch, 1990, would you change your past if you could? That's a real tough one, because would I change my past? I don't know. I don't think so. I think, well, I don't know, it's such a conundrum for me because part of my past really hurt my wife, and I wish I was a better father quicker. But on the flip side, I got 50,000 lads in my mental health group that are all talking. I've got this podcast that helps people with their sobriety. I'm writing a film. Please follow it on Instagram. It's called Sessions the Film. I've written a film and we're shooting it in January. Writing. I was writing it for 2 years. I'm so used to saying I'm writing it. Sessions the Film on Instagram. Please give it a follow. I've created a beautiful story and we're talking to some great actors to get me involved. So although it's been really difficult, I believe that my pain and everything that I've been through and the mistakes I've made are actually helping a lot of people. So I don't think I would. I love to have this thought. I love to have this knowledge now about my mind and addiction and mental health and well-being. And I love talking about it. And I know it helps. I meet people at every show that have kind of been helped by it. So no, I don't think I would, is the answer. Here's one from James. Do you ever have dreams, nightmares of breaking your sobriety? I had one last night. I had a dream last night. I think it's because we're coming to I knew I was shooting this podcast today, but I think it's because we're coming to the Christmas season. I had a dream last night that I was with one of my pals called John, and we were drinking and getting smashed, and it was Christmas, and then all of a sudden, at some point, it just hit me that Shelley was going to find out that, the anxiety of what's going to happen next now, because I've broken the trust created with my wife. And I suddenly got that overwhelming feeling of anxiety that I used to get when I'd been on the packet all night. I'd run out of packet. I couldn't chase a high. I had to come back down and face life. And I got that feeling in my dream last night and I hated it. So I think it's good to have them dreams. How much do you reckon you've saved in 2 years not using? God, let's work it out. So I reckon I used to do probably about 300 quid a week on alcohol and drugs, and that's being conservative. I reckon that was probably more. 300 times 52 equals times 2, about 30 grand. I reckon it's more than that though, because now it's not including like taxis. I reckon 50 grand. 50 grand I'm going to go with. How do you find the first couple of days when you decided to go sober? Great question, Stephen. How did I find the first couple of days when I wanted to go sober? Really upsetting and emotional and kind of scary. Yeah, I can't even remember. I look back now and I can't even remember, but I remember that it was hard, confusing, but I'd made a choice, and all I can say to you is that every day you get past makes the next day easier. So if you do your first week, the next week should be slightly easier, or you'll understand it more. But the first few days are the hardest, but also the most rewarding, because you've made a choice, man. And I congratulate anyone that's making that choice now. It's tough. This is a great question from Sobriety Soldier. Did you want to stop drinking or did you need to? Mate, did I want to stop drinking or did I need to? No, I did not want to just stop drinking. I did not want to stop drinking. I didn't. I enjoyed it. It was sewn into every aspect of my life. I did not want to give up drinking. I was trying to work out how to be a father and run my business, do my work, be successful, ambitious, and hold my head together and drink. But I could not stay mentally stable. I was beside myself, filled full of rage and aggression and anger, and like the world was against me, and my life was filled full of drama caused by drinking and session. So I knew I had to stop, especially when I broke up, when everything went west with the missus and the kids. So no, I didn't. I don't think anyone truly. Well, I don't know. I believe that there's different levels to what everyone's going through, and there's different types of addiction. I don't know if I was necessarily, I don't know. I think there's levels to it, I guess, and it hadn't gotten so bad. Like, I wasn't waking up in the morning and reaching for a bottle of vodka, but when I was drinking, every few days it was turning into seshes and causing a lot of problems. But I was still blind to that. I was still blind to the carnage. I kind of just thought it was what it was, and I was trying to manage it, but I never could manage it. I could never regulate my drinking once I started. And once I finally admitted that you cannot regulate your drinking once you start, and it always leads to the packet, then it went from maybe not wanting to wanting to be better. So initially I'd never wanted to stop drinking, but when I finally admitted that I had a serious problem, I wanted to fix it. I didn't want to be defeated by it. I wanted to be successful, especially at being a father. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope some of that made sense. It was a little bit all over the place today because I am quite triggered and emotional and worried about the festive season as it crops up, but I've got all of the tools in my backpack to sort myself out, and the main one being keeping an eye out for them triggers, not letting the triggers sneak into my mind and become compulsions, always identifying the triggers before they become compulsions, and then trying to switch up the end game from the trigger. So when I hear the music, I think of the kids opening the presents. When I see the lights, I think of going home and sitting in front of the fire with the missus. When the early darkness comes, I think I want to go home, not to a pub. You know what I mean? When I see other drinkers, I think that's fine for them. For me, it wouldn't be as fun because I'd still be there when the party's finished. And yeah, let me know how you felt about that episode. I'm going to maybe switch up after I shoot this film in January, go back to bringing guests on. I'd like to have some discussion about that in the comments on my YouTube videos. Let me know if you're enjoying these solo podcasts where I'm really trying to delve into different aspects of sobriety, or if you'd like to start hearing other people's stories again, let me know in the comment section. But I really appreciate everyone that's listening, and I hope some of this makes sense to you. It certainly helps me untangle my mind sitting here and talking to you. And please go onto my Instagram. In the bio, there's two things I want you to look at. Number one is the Instagram page for my new film, Sessions the Film. I'm going to need help with it, getting extras and all of that jazz. But also, I want you to support the project because it's about men's mental health and suicide reduction in men and addiction. And it's been written out of the stories from my charity and also the stuff I've learned on this podcast. So please go follow Sessions the Film and let me know if you're following from the podcast as well, and one of the videos in the comments. And also the link to my tour. I've just launched 6 new dates, and yeah, they're going on sale this Friday. So if you go on to cdanlive.com, you can leave your email and I'll ping you the new dates on Friday. But I'm coming to 6 new locations, then the tour's over. But if you haven't seen my stand-up comedy show, it's all about my journey from before being sober to getting sober, and the pros and cons, drugs, alcohol, all set out in a night out in a funny stand-up comedy way. It's the best show I've ever written. It's at cdanlive.com. Grab some tickets and see that tour before it's over. You never know when it's going to be my last tour. Let's do Christmas together, guys. Let's do Christmas together. I'm going to try and hold your hand through it, and we can enjoy it. Big shout out to my sober army. Thank you. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans, and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety.